Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Are you all well? I hope you're well. We have some people in chat already. Hello, Halakard, Daniel, Straw Piglet, and Jean, and it says 8 people. There's 8 by the little I up the top left. So looks like I've got some people watching me. Which I do apologise for starting a little late. My wife's gone out for a meal tonight. I dropped her off and I said to her, if you finish, she's gone out with all the girls from work. If you finish before 9:30, ring me. If it looks like you're going to finish after 9:30, don't ring me. Ring our daughter because she's at football training till about 9:30. And I didn't get a phone call, so I'm assuming the meal went on. Girlies gossip as they do, because there's no way they're going to get through a meal in an hour and a half. And no doubt the daughter's been the one who's been summoned to pick her up. So I never had to do my taxi one, but I did have to allow for it, hence starting half hour later. Hello, Crafting Gamer. Hello, Bear the Gen X GM. And Slan. Hello, Slan. Right. I was trying to decide what to do for this stream tonight. I know some people want me to finish off MV1 Midnight on Dagger Alley. But did you see my review of it? Did you see what I genuinely think of the adventure? Would you really put me through all of that horrific pain again? Hello, Nerdy Yoga. Halakar would like to see another Call of Cthulhu solo. Yeah, I have got 2 more that I've not run for you, but they're a little bit more complex, as a lot more complex. One of them requires a lot of preparation, and they're not as simple. So I would have to get that prepared well in advance, and then they're not simple at all. But they are very large undertakings. I mean, Alone Against the Frost, I think it's about twice the size of most of the others. It is something for the future. Something for the future. We played a bit of Cthulhu last night, actually. I didn't know how many players we would have because initially only Gingerbeard had signed up for it, and then others turned up. People don't click the I'm interested link. They just turn up for the game. So we spent about an hour and a half making characters. For most people, it was the first time they'd ever made a Call of Cthulhu character. And we played about an hour and a half into the first scenario. We had to stop a little bit early because people hadn't really planned for a later finish. But we got going. We're underway. A police officer's had his face eaten off. That was a good start. And one player's lost a little bit of sanity already, or a couple of players have lost a little bit of sanity already. But the dice absolutely loved them. And the first nasty thing they encountered didn't even touch them because it attempted to lunge for one of them, rolled a 100, which, if you know Call of Cthulhu, is a critical failure. So I ruled that it tripped and fell. And then one of the players with a 20% or 25% ability with the revolver went to shot it and rolled 0-1, which is a perfect shot. Straight between the eyes. It happens sometimes. It happens. That's the way it goes. Anyhow, there's a long way to go. Hello, Echo. Right. Straw Piglet, I think you're just about the only one who really wants us to finish or even continue with Midnight on Dagger Alley. For those who haven't seen the review, you should watch the review. But I do think there are worse modules than it. I think the WG one, is it WG7? Castle Greyhawk? I think that's worse. and N2, the Forest Oracle. Well, there's nothing worse than that one. It's absolutely dreadful. I do think that if you sat down with Midnight and Dagger Alley, got the map out, and just sort of transferred the map onto a regular map style, cut out a few of the connections, and then took the basic locations and added a bit more flesh to them, you could have a decent little town, and possibly a decent little town adventure for a low-level group of adventurers. But the DM would need to sit down and just sort of put all the pieces in place, rather than just read it through as a solo adventure. It just doesn't work as a solo adventure very well at all. And it needs so much work. Halakar. Yeah, I bet you were furious. WG7. I'm sure it's WG7, isn't it? Absolute travesty. It's not funny. It's just not funny. So I'm sorry, Straw Piglet, but I don't want to run Midnight on Dagger Alley. I've done 3 streams on it now, and that's enough for me. I think it was 3. Was it 2? Can't remember. I've done 1 review, and 3 streams, I think it was, and that's just enough. That's more than enough. All the Electrum you'll be missing. Yeah. It was just so repetitive. Yeah, exactly, Slan. The map of the town is absolutely fine, but it needs so much work to fill out the locations and just sort of tie it all together, rather than have it feel as though this sort of ill-developed higgledy-piggledy mess. It's a bit like, you know the module A3, the town of Sudaham, in that, where it just felt unfinished. Potentially it could be the best bit of the module, but it just wasn't finished. Thank you, Parmetto Exile. Thank you. I'm glad you're thinking of my stomach. For those who don't know, I can't drink milk. I'm not allowed to. It does horrible things to me. If I was ever to do the Indianapolis 500 and win it, which I won't, I'm sorry, I would not be celebrating with a pint of milk. I couldn't. No, don't care how much of a tradition it is. Would not do it. Yeah, I can pretend to play it at home by rolling a random monster off the monster manual, then just fighting it. Yeah, exactly. Right. So what have I got? Well, I think I should drag out Call of Cthulhu again in the future, and maybe either run Alone Against the Frost. We never did finish Alone Against the Tide, did we? We died a couple of times in that, so we might get back to that at some point. But we've got Alone Against the Frost, and I've got Alone Against the Dark as well. We could run either of those 2. They're both bigger than the ones we've run so far. I've heard Alone Against the Frost is better of the 2, so could give that a try. But so tonight, just as a little fill-in tonight, and because I don't have anything really planned, because I've been on tax duty and stuff, I'm going to run that. We've never played it. Next Friday is a holiday for you at work. Very good. A week on Monday is a holiday for me from work, and I'm playing in one of Elfbait's games. I showed this, and immediately one person left chat. I'm here for Midnight and Dagger Alley. If you were here for Midnight and Dagger Alley, yeah, okay. The other thing I could run any of the other basic and expert D&D solo adventures, which I believe are better. Was it Ghost of Lion Castle, Maze of the Riddling Minotaur, Latham's Gold, Thunderdelve Mountain? Any of those? I've only ever played Maze of the Riddling Minotaur of those. So I bought that when I was a kid. I don't remember any of it. Pardon me. So yeah, playing an Elfbait's Call of Cthulhu game a week on Monday. First time he's ever run a game for me, which is very nice. Oh, as we talk about him, here is Elfbait. Hello, Elfbait. So I'm going to run Caverns of the Snow Witch. I've never read it. I've only recently picked it up. Oh, I have also, following on from finding out about the sad loss of Russ Nicholson, and discovering that he's illustrated some other books. I went looking and found a few books. People drew my attention to them, to be honest. And I've bought one of the Ace books. It is a choose your own adventure, but it's got Russ Nicholson art in, I believe. So that should hopefully be coming in the next day or two. I was hoping it'd be here before today, to be honest, but that would be something different as well. So options, there are options aplenty going forward, but for tonight we have the Caverns of the Snow Witch. I have a character ready here, so let us proceed. I've only got an hour and a half really for this stream tonight. It's the late start. We start with a picture. Start with a picture. There we go. Looks like one of looks like the sort of people that you see on my stream on a Wednesday night. Winters in northern Alancia are always cruel and bitter. The snow falls thick and the icy wind blows hard, chilling everybody to the bone. For the past few weeks, you've been hired by a merchant called Big Jim's son to protect his trading caravans as they roll their way slowly north to the frozen outposts. Yes, indeed, Alfie. I was. I did mean he hasn't got a mohawk, but he has the beard. The horse-drawn carts are laden with cloth, utensils, weapons, salted meats, spices, and tea, which are traded for furs and ivory carvings made from mammoths' tusks. Big Jim is not usually worried about travelling north, as bandits only attack his caravans on the return journey. He is not alone in recognising the value of the northern goods. On this particular trip, you are walking ahead of 6 carts across a frozen lake. In the distance, you can see the snow-capped peaks of the Icefinger Mountains jutting out of low cloud. Your destination lies at the base of the mountains where the Northmen meet to trade. Snow is falling, but not too heavily. You stop to prod the ice with your sword to make sure it can bear the weight of carts, when suddenly the shrill call of the hunting horn breaks the silence. You stand up and run back to the carts to talk to Big Jim. He is sitting next to the driver of the second cart, puffing on a long briar pipe. A huge man with a great bushy beard. Big Jim is obviously a man to be reckoned with. His bright blue eyes scan the horizon, searching for signs of life. In a deep voice, he says, "Sounds like it came from the outpost. Reckon you better go and investigate. Could be trouble. And get back quick." You set off straight away towards the outpost at the base of Icefinger Mountains. You arrive 2 hours later at a scene of ugly carnage. The snow is red with blood and all the wooden huts are smashed and torn down. 6 men lie dead, their bodies slashed, their axes at their sides in the snow. Judging by the size of the footprints, the creature that attacked the outpost must have been enormous. There's nothing you can do for the unfortunate Northmen, so you head back towards Big Jim's caravan to report the news. You reach them in an hour, just as daylight is fading, and relate the terrible events that have befallen the outpost. Big Jim orders the carts to be drawn into a circle to protect his men during the night. A large fire is built into the center of the circle, and you sit down beside it to talk to Big Jim. Everybody is nervous, and a guard is posted to watch for signs of movement outside. In a low voice, Big Jim asks you if you will hunt the terrible creature, for otherwise his business will be ruined forever. You smile and reply that you will track down the beast, but only for a purse of 50 gold pieces. Big Jim's jaw drops open, and it takes a great deal of persuasion before he agrees to your demand. The snow finally stops falling as you settle down for the night. Sleep is a long time coming, for your mind is active with thoughts of the impending hunt. When you wake just after dawn, the fire is reduced to dying embers. Wisps of smoke rise gently into the morning mist, and not a sound is to be heard. You walk over to where Big Jim is sleeping and tap him on the shoulder. He wakes with a start and you tell him you're setting off and hope to be back later in the day. You wave to the guard as the snow starts to fall again and make your way back to the outpost. Who's talking about things that are illegal in my country? I wish they weren't, to be honest. I think it's stupid that they're illegal, but they are. Oh well. Oh well. So, we're at the start of the adventure. By the time you reach the outpost again, the bodies are blanketed with snow and the beast's footprints are covered over. The visibility is poor as you set off towards the mountains where you hope to find the abominable killer beast. The snow on the mountains is soft and you sink in up to your knees as you climb slowly up. You soon find yourself at the edge of a crevasse which is spanned by an ice bridge. Shall we cross the crevasse using the bridge, or shall we try to walk around the crevasse? There we go. We have a choice so far. So, ice bridge or walk around. Ice bridge or walk around. Those are your choices. And I'm just going to relax. Yeah, it could be a giant cow. It could be a giant cow. Hello, Wayne. Wayne's World of Science and Technology. Right, 2 for bridge, 3 for around. All right, we're level now at 3-3. 3 bridges, 3 walk around. This is how it's going to go. Good ho. Good ho. Tumty 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 tum. Palmetto Exile says bridge. Straw Piglet says bridge. So bridge is now winning 5-3. You're an anthropologist, Wayne. And we've got another around. There is that Daniel sneaking in on his missus's account. I think it might be. But at the moment, bridge is winning. 5 for bridge, 4 for around. Don't need to roll D6 to break the tie. If you are correct, Wayne. Trolls do indeed hide under bridges. Speaking of trolls, I wonder how quickly chat will get us killed tonight. Because you lot troll me. You try to get us killed. Right, so we're going to try and cross by the ice bridge. No ice chickens. Now, it has become canon in all D&D games that we play on my channel that chickens have a purpose in life. If a goblin puts a chicken on his head, then that goblin becomes invisible. Why? Because goblins say so. Blame General Nut for that one. Goblins believe it. They believe they're invisible with chickens on their heads. Right. Straight away, it says here the bridge is quite narrow and very slippery, so we have to test our luck. Yes. If you got a fresh new character, you're likely to succeed in almost every check. We have a fresh new character. We've succeeded on our luck check. If you're lucky, turn to 41. Well, it's up to you whether you believe it or not, but I might have to make a saving throw. We did rescue a poor scribe in one of the adventures, and to make sure he got out of town safely, we put a chicken on his head as he left after we'd absolutely terrorized him. You tread carefully over the bridge, safely across the safely across the crevasse. You continue your slow trek through the snow. So, yeah, Halakar. Yeah. You'll never look at a sleeping bag in the same light again, will you? No. No. Again, blame General Nut. General Nut is playing in the Call of Cthulhu game started last night, and all the players had to pick characters who would know a well-traveled professor. So Nutty decided to play an ambassador from a far-off land. He's a pygmy. He's playing a pygmy with a blowgun. So he'll be getting on the Orient Express with his pygmy. Right. What can we see across the other side of the crevasse? The wind starts to howl, blowing gusts of snow into your face. You put your head down and stride into it. Above the howl of the wind, you suddenly become aware of another sound, the howling of wolves. You draw your sword while trying to peer through the snow. As if out of nowhere, 2 snow wolves appear in front of you, hunched and ready to pounce. They are completely white except for their blood-red eyes. Suddenly, one leaps at you. Fight them one at a time. There we go. We're off. We're off and running. We have a fight, and we have artwork. Snow wolves. That would be a half-decent piece of art if the artist could draw mouths. Look at the mouths. The mouths of those wolves are terrible. It's okay apart from that. Sounded very Birmingham then. I do apologise. Okay, fighting one wolf. We're the red dice and they're the green and white dice. We've got a 4-point advantage over their skills. Yeah, nearly human mouths. That's what I thought when I looked at them. Very human-like. Hit it twice. 4-point advantage is playing into our hands. So we've killed the first wolf. Second wolf. Dice haven't turned against us yet. Oh. Beat it by 1. Oh, hang on. Oh, it's a tie. 5-9. We've got +4 advantage. So 1 more hit still. Yeah. We've taken out the wolves. We had a big advantage against them. We've got a skill of 11 there. Oh, I spot a misprint. Again, if you saw my MV1 review, you'll know I haven't found many misprints in fighting fantasy books, but there is one. Skill is always the first stat, but they've listed stamina there. They've got the skill and the stamina the wrong way around in the headings. You don't see many misprints in these, though. You step past the still bodies of the wolves and continue your journey through the swirling snow. The climb becomes steeper and the going is slow. The snow is beginning to fall very heavily, swirling around in the strong wind. A blizzard is starting. If you wish to use your sword to dig a shelter, say so. Or shall we press on? So shall we attempt to use our sword to dig a shelter in the snow, or shall we press on in the blizzard? Up to you, chaps. See, apart from the mouths, that picture of wolves was all right. It's just those mouths. They just looked fairly atrocious. The 2 first-level characters take out a werewolf one time by using the grease spell. Lucky rolls, the werewolf kept falling down, and we had silver weapons. Well, you're lucky in multiple ways because first level characters generally can't afford silver weapons. So well done. Well done. Make the most of what you've got. Ice will bite. Oh, Jeb is using a bit of... Hello, Jeb. Jeb is using a little bit of logic here. I don't know whether the authors use logic or it is Ian Livingstone. He's probably the best writer of these books. So I'm hoping he has used some logic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go for shelter. 1, 2, 3 go for pressing on. So 5 say shelter. 3 say press on. I am going to be burping a bit tonight. I've got no bellyache this week. Hurrah. But I'm burping because I've got fizzy pop. I didn't have any beer because I thought I might be driving. Cheers, Slan. Charles. Okay, so we're digging a shelter. You hurriedly cut blocks of ice out of the mountains and build a makeshift igloo. You crawl into it as the blizzard blows down the mountain with ferocious power. Your body heat is retained inside the igloo and you keep warm. However, you must eat 2 portions of your provisions. We start with 10, so okay. To regain your strength after the tiring walk and the effort of building the igloo. An hour later, the blizzard dies down and you crawl out of your shelters to continue your quest. I think we picked the right, might have picked the right one there. I think we did. All right. Underneath an overhanging rock, you see a small wooden hut built against the side of the mountain. Its roof is piled high with snow and long icicles hang down from window ledges. You see a set of deep footprints leading from the hut up the side of the mountain. Shall we enter the hut or shall we follow the footprints? Yeah, I made an executive decision. I didn't want the pain of playing Dagger Alley. Next week yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll do this next week. Next week we'll either be doing the Ace Books Dracula, which I've got coming, or we'll do Ghost of Lion Castle, or if I get time to prepare it, we might have a go at Alone Against the Frost, the Cthulhu one. But I need to really have a look at that because it might be too complicated for one of these streams because you actually have multiple characters in that solo adventure. In fact, Alone Against the Dark might be a better one to try. That's one character. Hut, 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 hut. Sounds like a quarterback. Hello, Barney. So we've got options for next week. I'll have a little flick through the various options to see which one will go on our stream the easiest. But to be honest, I've had enough of MV1. I don't particularly want to open it up again. I do have an urge to just go through it as a DM and turn it into a proper town to see how the town is properly laid out. Because I don't think the town's too badly mapped. I just think there's too much nonsense on there. Anyhow, everyone's going for hut. Dog wants walk. Okay, dog shall have walk. Dog needs poo. That reminds me, I haven't seen my dog since I got back from dropping the wife off. Mage, I didn't pay anything for it. So I got my money's worth. I got as much as it was worth. In case you don't get the gist of the review, MV1 Midnight on Dagger Alley is typically selling on eBay auction. It rarely appears on auction. the buy it now prices are in the realm of £30 if it doesn't have the magic viewer, and 50 to 60 if it does. I haven't seen it on auction, so I don't know whether I haven't seen it on auction at least for a month or two, so I don't know how high auctions go on it at the moment. When I kept a database about 3 or 4 years ago, it was averaging about £15 per auction. There were a few copies floating around then, which was a little higher than the average. But the average has obviously gone up in the last 3 or 4 years, unfortunately. I do have a very sad database. I used to go through eBay every single week and filter out every AD&D basic D&D and expert D&D module. Filter it all by auction listings only. I'd get rid of all the buy it now ones, and I'd watch every single one. And then a week later, I'd log in and look at all the ones that sold, and I'd write down the prices that they sold for. And I kept a spreadsheet of them for about a year and a half. So I do have some quite good data on what things were worth in 2019 on eBay. But they were doing that. 2018, they were doing that very steeply. 2019, they leveled out. It looked like they plateaued. And we all know what happened in 2020. And they went again. Yeah. Right. Hut. Yeah. No, I'd pay £10 for it just to have it in my collection, because I'm a bit of I do want to complete that collection eventually one day and have them all original solid rather than print on demand. But I wouldn't pay more than 10 quid for it, to be honest. I don't care what condition it would be in, it would come in. The front door of the hut is frozen shut, and you have to batter it with your shoulder to open it. There is only one room inside the hut containing the belongings of a fur trapper. Traps, furs, and sacks are stacked in a corner of the room. A wooden bed and a table and chair and some cooking utensils show sign of recent use, and the ashes in the fire are still warm. Shall we put some logs on the fire and warm up the cold stew in one of the pans, or shall we just leave the hut and continue our quest? So, logs on the fire, warm up the cold stew, or shall we just leave the hut and continue? Up to you. There are a few that I will struggle to add to my collection. A few, because I simply refuse to pay some of the prices that are being charged. The only one I would willingly pay a high price for, I think, is B10, as long as it's complete. I would buy a complete version of B10 for quite a sizable sum. I'm not encouraging any of you to try and take me up on that and try and flog me a copy. But if you've got a copy going and you're willing to sell it for a sensible amount, I'll buy it. I had the Forest Oracle when I was a teenager, Jeb. I haven't got a physical copy of it anymore. But B10's one I would spend a decent amount of money for. A lot of the modules I've reviewed, I owned vast majority in my teens, and sadly, they all went out in the early 2000s. I bought most of what I owned again, and I've bought other ones I didn't own, but there are a fair few that I'm not particularly interested in buying again, and the Forest Oracle is one of them. Same goes for DL1, First Dragonlance Adventure. C3, Lost Island of Castanamere. No interest in buying that again. Trying to think what other ones I'm not interested in getting again. Nothing really springing to mind. Well, I'll be looking for modules at the UK Games Expo in a couple of weeks. But sadly, prices have climbed there. The people tend to push their luck, and I'm only going on the Friday and Saturday, and sometimes the people will drop their prices on the Sunday, but I can't go on the Sunday. So it's a case of either get there very early and get the ones that are real bargains before the vultures dive in, or wait till Sunday. Because last time I went a few years back, all the bargains had gone by the time I got there. Anyway, are we going to let's have a little look at what choices people have made. Jeb reckons leave the hut. Halakar says fire. Oh, we're on 4-2 at the moment. So 4 people want to build a fire and eat. 2 people want to leave the hut. Anybody else want to vote? My biggest problem with print-on-demand copies is I want to own things to use, and I hate the way they're all bound. That you don't get the old pull out. You have to effectively take it apart to use it. I don't want to do that. Jeff, which Jeff? Which Jeff you on about? Jeff D, Jeff Grubb, Jeff Goldblum? It won't be him. Which Jeff works at the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum? Is it Jeff Grubb? I think it is, isn't it? Jeff as a Leeson. Oh, Easley, Jeff Easley. There's a Leeson as well. Is there a Jeff Leeson? Seems like Jeff is the co-writer. So yeah, it was Harold Johnson and Jeff Leeson, not Jeff Easley. I can buy it as a PDF and bind it myself. It still doesn't feel right. Anyhow, it looks like we are warming ourselves up and trying to consume this stew, which we hope is edible. The fire is soon roaring and crackling in the hearth. The heat of the flames radiates through your body and you revel in the warmth. The stew is delicious and you feel your strength returning. Add 3 stamina points. We're already at full stamina. With renewed energy, you decide to leave your hut to continue your quest. Lots of Jeffs. In America, is Jeff around that time the sort of name like Dave is here, where everybody knows a Dave? As you're about to leave the hut, you catch sight of some weapons lying under the bed. Do we want to take a couple of them with us? Or do we want to not be encumbered by the additional weight and would rather leave without the weapons? So do we take the weapons with us or do we leave without them? Cheers, Mage. Heading out for a change of pace on a Friday. We can't have +3 stamina. We're on maximum. We're on our maximum. Jeff, Dave, Jason, and Gary. Yeah. I know from my my Discord that most people who reveal their real names seem to be called Sean. We've got at least 3 Seans on there. It was an invasion of the Seans. Take, leave, steal, leave. Okay. So we have just the option of take weapons or leave weapons. Take weapons or leave weapons. That's just our option. We're on 2-2 at the moment. I mean, you're all probably thinking of Red Dwarf when the name Dave is mentioned. First thing that comes to mind for me is Only Fools and Horses. I don't know if that comedy series made its way over to America, but the character Rodney in that gets called Dave for no reason other than this guy calls him Dave. Why, Dave? It's Rodney. All right, Rodney, is it Dave? I've never met a female Sean. I've only ever met male Seans. I've met plenty of people who are Sean, as in Shorn. Yes, yeah. I won't say where. I've never heard of Cheech and Chong either. They didn't make it over to Britain. Sorry. You're all speaking a foreign language to me. What sort of... I think a lot of British comedy made its way over to America, but there's only certain comedy shows made their way over here. We got quite a lot of American films. In terms of comedy series, Married with Children, Cheers, Seinfeld, Friends. The Golden Girls made it over here. Taxi used to be on. Yeah, I remember Taxi being on. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Yeah. Mid-70s Latin comedians. Right. So stealing is winning. So we're stealing weapons. 255. You take a warhammer and a spear before leaving the hut. There we go. So to add to our sword, we now have a warhammer and a spear. 263. Chong used to be in Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. I've never heard of them. Right. Oh, the binding's going on this page. Oh. It is an old copy. This is from the original print run. So outside, again, in the deep snow, you set off on your trek up the mountainside, following the footprints in the snow. Turn to 190. The high altitude and thin atmosphere make you pant for breath as you continue your steady climb. Lose 1 stamina point. Suddenly you hear the cry of a human voice followed by a ferocious roar. Not far ahead, you see a fur trapper fighting for his life against a gigantic bear-like beast with long white fur and sharp teeth protruding from its jaws. It is the killer beast that you have been hunting, the abominable Yeti. You watch the unfortunate trapper being gashed by the Yeti's claws and falling face down in the snow. Incensed by the vicious attack, you scream at the Yeti and run through the snow to attack it. We, of course, have artwork here. That's not too bad, is it? The eyes make it, it looks a little bit dog-like. I will say it looks a little bit dog-like. More odd mouths, yes, yes. Does look a little bit. It looks like a giant dog. Are you carrying a spear? If you are, turn to 391. If you don't have a spear, turn to 378. It looks like the spear was the right call. Goody, goody, goody. Do we have frostbite in our sword arm? No, we don't. Okay. I think we've made some good calls so far. Gripping the shaft tightly. Ooh. Repeat that. Gripping the shaft tightly. You pull back your arm and hurl the spear at the snarling yeti. Roll 1d6. If you roll a 1, no. Roll a 2 or greater, yes. Or roll a 5. Turn to 219. The spear flies through the air and thuds into the yeti's shaggy chest. It roars in pain but does not fall. You quickly draw your sword to fight the enraged beast. Right, this is a little bit tougher. It has a skill 10, stamina 9. I'm guessing we've already done it some damage from the spear. So, here we go. We're the red ones. The green and white are it. Oh, 8-2. Marvellous. Marvellous. I like the dice doing this. Okay, I'll shut up, shall I? 4-7. It's wounded us. 8-11. Yeah, I've cursed us. I'm sorry, I've cursed us. 4-4. A tie on the dice. We've got one higher skill, so we win. 8-6. We win again. That was a Bee Gees song, wasn't it? You win again. It's got us. I'm sure any music questions anyone has, Gene will be able to clarify. Seems to be the music guru. Anyway, I do notice Wayne's comment is still hiding my face. So yeah, there we are. I do need to trim it. I'm not normally a neckbeard. I'm just a very lazy bloke who can't be asked. So I do need to go over it. I only ever use a beard trimmer and sort of back to about grade 1 because I hate having a smooth face. But we've beaten it. The Bee Gees. So You Win Again was Hot Chocolate. You Win Again was the Bee Gees. Look that up. Check that up now. I'm sure So You Win Again was Hot Chocolate. And You Win Again was the Bee Gees. I'm pretty sure it was a UK #1, the Bee Gees, You Win Again. Jeb, are you saying correct to me or to Gene? No, I don't listen to the Bee Gees either, to be honest. The wife does. That's the sort of thing the wife likes. Yes. Cheers, Jeb. I'm a bit of a music nerd as well, to be honest. I am a bit of a music nerd. About 1977 through to about 1995. Everyone's a winner, indeed. The Hot Chocolate song I like is Emma, but that's mainly because I heard it first in the form of the cover version that the Sisters of Mercy did. It was one of their B-sides, and it suits a very bassy Sisters of Mercy song absolutely superbly. Great record as well. The hot chocolate version of Emma Lee. Going to write your name high on that silver screen, Emma Lee. Great. You kneel down beside the fur trapper and turn him over slowly. His eyes are barely open, and blood trickles down from the corner of his mouth. The Yeti has gouged deep wounds in his chest, and you realize there is no hope of saving him. Pardon me. With a great effort, he reaches up and grabs you around the neck, pulling you down so you can hear his dying words. He thanks you for trying to save him and insists on telling you his secret. In terrible pain, he struggles to whisper his story. He tells it he has lived in the mountains for most of his life, hunting animals and trading their furs. But for the last 5 years, he has been searching for the legendary Crystal Caves. They're in Module UK1. I could have told him that. These caves have been cut out of a glacier by the followers of the Snow Witch, a beautiful yet evil sorceress who is trying to use her dark powers to bring on an ice age so that she can rule supreme over the whole world. The entrance to the Crystal Caves is high up on this very mountain. It is open but hidden by an illusion. The unfortunate fur trapper found it by accident only yesterday when he saw one of the Snow Witch's warriors seemingly walk straight through an ice wall and disappear. The trapper left a piece of fur hanging over the entrance so that he could find it again the next day. Sadly, the Yeti has put an end to his hopes. He asks you to enter the caves to slay the vile Snow Witch and leave her followers without their leader. There are legends about great treasures being frozen into the wall of the Snow Witch's lair, which would provide ample reward. The fur trapper suddenly grips you hard and then falls back silently into the snow. He's dead. You cover him with snow before deciding what to do. 50 gold pieces await you if you return with evidence of the Yeti's death to Big Jim's son. But the thought of the quest through the mountains, a quest through the Crystal Cave, try that again. But the thought of a quest through the Crystal Caves beneath Icefinger Mountains excites you, and you set off to find them. Okay, yeah, he does talk a lot, but if it was a storyline from Fire and Ice, then he's nicked it from here, because this book was written in 1984, I believe. When was whatever his name is? When was he writing those songs of Fire and Ice, Ice and Fire, whatever? Yeah, 1984. Oh, a Frazetta cartoon. Okay, I don't know much about Frazetta. I've seen some of his pictures and all the bums and boobies that go in them, which are great. But I don't know much of them. I don't know the names of the pictures. You saw a mashup of the Bee Gees singing "Staying Alive" to the music of ACD's "Back in Black." whatever. Right. Now that the snow has stopped falling, the sky is clear and blue. The air is cold and crisp, and the snow crunches beneath your feet. Slowly, you make your way up the mountainside, looking for the cave entrance marker left by the fur trapper. Suddenly, you hear a distant rumbling from above, the terrifying sound of an avalanche. Test your luck. We've got a luck of 10. That luck is now 9. We are lucky. 100. You look up to see great cascades of snow tumbling down the mountain. Fortunately, the avalanche sweeps down a ridge adjacent to the one you're climbing. Turn to 363. Jane, wash your mouth out with soap. I'm from the land of UB40, and I bloody hate them. There were 2 songs of theirs I didn't mind. Food for Thought and 1 in 10. Really, really early ones. But when they became just pop reggae, they were the most drivel, boring. Bleh. But I come from Birmingham, and people love UB40 around here, and their songs are just played to death. I think both Food for Thought and 1 in 10 will be on that first album, I would imagine, when they still had a bit of a sort of a scarry feel to them. They felt like they were doing something that the Specials and the Beat and bands like that could come out with, a bit of a harder edge. You make your way slowly up the mountain until you reach a rock face that is too steep to climb. You walk round the side until you see a massive wall of ice which completely blocks a gully between 2 peaks of the mountain, the glacier. Your heart leaps as you catch sight of the piece of fur hanging on the wall of ice by the trapper. Although you cannot see the entrance, you walk straight ahead. You shut your eyes as you think about to walk into the wall of ice, but you walk straight through the illusion and find yourself inside a long tunnel carved into the ice. You walk down it and soon arrive at a T-junction. Shall we go right or shall we go left? Right or left? We are in a tunnel. Right or left? I think it might depend on your era there, Jeb. I mean, we gave birth to some great bands and some awful ones. I mean, you've got Spencer Davis, really good band from the 60s. They were from Birmingham. In the 70s, good old Slade. In the 70s, Black Sabbath. Yep. 80s, UB40. Duran Duran. Well, who else from the 80s was in the 80s was from Birmingham? I'm thinking now. I'm really thinking. In the 90s, Ocean Colour Scene. Did they make it over to America? ELO, Judas Priest. Yeah, I've forgotten those 2. I mean, in the 90s, Ocean Colour Scene were probably the big one over here. They were from Birmingham. And then we had a what is known as the Stourbridge scene, which is sort of southwest of Birmingham, and these were sort of alternative indie bands. There was they were quite big when I was at university. Sort of when I was in 6th form, 17, 18, they became big. But university, they used to fill the dance floors. That was Pop Will Eat Itself, Ned's Atomic Dustbin, The Wonder Stuff. I don't know if any of those ever made it over to America either. I doubt it. They were very much student bands over here, but they were classed as Birmingham bands. Yeah, Jeff Lynne, good band. Ned's Atomic Dustbin and The Wonder Stuff both crossed it over to America. Excellent. Did Pop Will Eat Itself? Ned's indeed. Kill Your Television. Reading in 1991. Wonder Stuff, saw them live just a couple of years ago. Pop Will Eat Itself, seen them live about half a dozen times. Do any of you? I mean, any of you know the Prodigy? I don't know if the Prodigy made it over to America. Very, very big, heavy dance band. Grace L. Green, great record. and Wonder Stuff, Unbearable, probably my favourite song by them. I didn't like you very much when I met you. I didn't like you very much when I met you. Didn't like you very much when I met you. But now I like you even less. They did. Right. They've got a song called Their Law, which they play live. It's quite an early one. That was written by the lead singer of Populate itself, and it's his vocal that is sampled on the Prodigy song Their Law. Well, he wrote it with Liam Howlett from the Prodigy, and Howlett's version was all very much a remix version. And when Populate itself play live, they play their version of it, which is it's more cranked up with guitars. And the lead singer of Populate itself, if you hear him, he can't sing at all. But after the band, he went on to go into film score composition, and he's now probably Britain's highest regarded film composer, given that he was a crusty with big dreadlocks in the early 90s who just shouted down the microphone. It's a bit of an odd one. If you've ever heard of Clint Mansell, he composed Lux Eterna, Requiem for a Dream, which I know was used in trailers for Lord of the Rings and for the film Requiem for a Dream. Anyway, there we go. Just thought I'd throw that in. I mentioned that because I was at work today. I was watching footage of a gig I was at in 2005, which was the last time Populate itself played together, and I was there. And the entire gig's on YouTube. Right. Anyway, which way are we going to go? Left or right? Left or right? Let's have a look. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So mostly lefts at the moment. Sad to mention the Smiths with the passing of their bassist today. Yeah. I was never much into the Smiths at the time, but I've grown to appreciate them as time's gone on. The tunnel bends round to the right. I'm keeping a little map here. As you turn the corner, you almost bump into a tall, pale-skinned humanoid coming the other way. He's wearing a white cloak with a hood pulled over his head. He's a mountain elf, one of the Snow Witch's followers. What shall we do? We can nod our head at him and walk by nonchalantly, tell him we've come to join the Snow Witch's followers, or attack him with our sword. Nod, lie, or attack. Those are our choices. Nod, lie, or attack. Looks could kill, I'd kill your television. What's up? Kill and take the cloak. So we've got lie, kill, nod, lie. Lie, kill, nod, lie so far. Any more voters? I think of the Birmingham Acts. The editors were formed near Birmingham, but they weren't originally from Birmingham. They're a good band. Another kill. So we've got 2 kills, 2 lies, 2 nods. 6 votes, 6 no votes. Any of the no voters wish to contribute? Kill your television. Same with the Ned's Atomic Dustbin thing. All right. Kill is now winning. Kill has 4 votes. The others have 2. So, yeah, we're bloodthirsty. Fight. As you draw your sword, the mountain elf lets out a shrill battle cry, pulls back his cloak, and grips his sword. He's skill 6, stamina 6, so he's a bit of a wuss. Yes. And it does say, yep, only hit him twice, because if the mountain elf's stamina falls to 2, turn to 305. It has fallen to 2. The wounded mountain elf calls out for mercy. Shall we kill him, or shall we spare his life? Oh, a moral quandary. As if my chat have any morals whatsoever. Kill or spare? Slay or spare? Execute or let go? Oh, 2 of you have already said be nice to him. Yeah, maybe he'll double cross us as well, Elfbait. You've got too much fake elven nature. You're all proving me wrong now. You're all proving me wrong. We're out. Yeah, okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for sparing him. Yeah, they're just contrary. Contrary, that's what they are. Yeah. Yeah. Geek says we're bloodthirsty. So no, we're not anymore. Big children. Okay, it looks like it's only Jeb who wants to run him through. I'm sure if our female players were here, they'd have just gone stab. But I haven't seen Kabuki Kid or Zaturok here. Kelsey was here earlier. It might be Daniel in his Friday persona. But okay, so we're sparing him. Turn to 204. The elf slumps on the floor and pulls back his hood. You see a metal collar around his neck, glowing in the semi-darkness. Obedience collar, he stammers in pain. Makes us do whatever she wishes. If I die, it will lose its energy, but she will know and send others to investigate. Elves, even we mountain elves, would not serve that vile witch of our own free will. Kill her and free us. I bear you no grudge for attacking me, for you knew no better. Take my cloak to disguise yourself and follow this tunnel to where it branches. Take the right-hand fork. Now I must rest. You put the elf's cloak round your shoulders and make him as comfortable as you can. You shake his hand and run off down the tunnel. So we have the elf cloak. And we run off down the tunnel. And so he said, take the right-hand fork where it branches, is what he's told us. power word told you so. Nye, 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 nye. You soon arrive at the fork in the tunnel that the mountain elf mentioned, and deciding to take his advice, you enter the tunnel to your right. You have to say it's fun to sit with your dad and hear you all interacting. What does your dad think of all of this then, Daniel? Is he enjoying all of this? Or is he paying no attention? If he's anything like my dad, he'll be completely oblivious. He'll be sat there in his own little world. Oh. My dad's 80 next month. 80. He doesn't look a day over 95. Further ahead, in the left-hand wall of the tunnel, you see a gap. You walk up to it and peer around to see a cave in which a Neanderthal is stripping the skin off a moose, making it ready for the large simmering stew pot behind him. He is working very slowly and is being yelled at by the gnome cook, who is wearing a white apron and waving a wooden spoon in the air. This is a crude kitchen. Shall we enter the crude kitchen, or shall we creep past the entrance? Ah, right. So that was your daughter. That was your daughter. And it was me thinking that you were watching it with your old man, Daniel. There we go. That's the scene that we see. Gnome in the foreground, waving his wooden spoon. Neanderthal in the background, skinning a beast. Creep past or go into the crude kitchen. Up to you. Hello, doggy. Woof, woof. Hello. We can hear you chattering in the background.
It's already on.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, okay. How many we got there? We've only got 3 votes. I was fussing my dog. Only 3 of you voted. Creep past or go into the kitchen. That's a terrible joke, Jean. Terrible. Right, with just 3 votes, we're creeping past. Yeah, this is a dad joke. Right, 267. No, I'm not going to force any loss of stamina for bad jokes. You wait until the gnome and Neanderthal look away before running past the cave opening and on down the tunnel. Turn to 198. Daniel, you're lagging a little bit. Too late, too slow. In the distance, you hear chanting voices. Before the long tunnel ends at the entrance to a large cavern, kneeling down before an ice effigy in the shape of a demon, their hooded faces pressed to the ice floor in worship, are 10 of the Snow Witch's followers. There are 2 exits from the cave, one to your left and one to your right. If we are... Oh, hold on. Oh. Art. If you're wearing a cloak, turn to 384. We are. Have we made every correct decision so far in this book? It would be a first. You pull down the hood of your cloak as far as possible and walk towards the tunnel exit on your right. Test your luck. Oh, we're unlucky. Oh. Oh, no. Okay. If you're unlucky, turn to 370. You are almost at the entrance to the tunnel when the worshippers stop their chanting. They stand up and one of you calls out to you why you did not stop to sing the praises of the Frozen One. If you have a magic flute, you can tell them that you have been ordered to go and play it for the Snow Witch. Otherwise, we haven't got a magic flute. Otherwise, we may either fight them or try to run for the tunnel. Fight or run. Those are our choices. Fight or run. So two for run, one for fight. Three for run, two for fight. I have a feeling that failed luck check has just condemned us. Our luck was 9. 9 or lower would have been successful, but I rolled 10. Okay, we're on 4 runs, 2 fights at the moment. We are leaning towards run. We're 12 in chat. So there's... Hello, Hungar. So Hungar says fight. Kick him in the nuts. Straw Piglet, you like that mechanic where you can spend luck to boost the dice? That's a Call of Cthulhu mechanic. So I'm taking Hungar's vote as a fight. So we're on 4-3 at the moment. 4 run, 3 fight. Any more votes? I'm going to do a little countdown in my head. Okay, we are on 4 run, 3 fight at the end of my countdown. So sorry, Hungar, your first vote is outnumbered. Try and run for the tunnel, 33. There are 10 of them, so... The followers are a group of goblins, orcs, and Neanderthals. As you make a run for it, the 2 creatures who are nearest try to stop you. One cracks his whip, trying to wrap it around your legs, while the other aims a dart at you. Test our luck. Yeah, we're lucky this time. 226. Both the dart and the whip fail to find their mark, and you're able to run through the tunnel. Turn to 137. The tunnel ends quite soon at a T-junction. To your left, you can hear cries for help. Shall we go left, or shall we turn right? Do we go towards the cries for help, or shall we turn right and just ignore them? Left or right? Three left, 1 right so far. 4 left, 1 right. We usually have one person each week who gets heavily outvoted, but it seems to be pretty even tonight. Daniel wants to help, which is left. So we're on 5 left, 1 right. I'll give you the countdown in my head again. You can probably hear the cogs whirring as I went down from 10 to 1, and we're going to go left. Jane, is that the cork popping, as in the first trip after a number of beers? I know what you're like, especially on a Saturday when we're playing. The tunnel ends at the edge of a pit, out of which a dwarf is trying to climb, but he keeps on slipping back. The floor of the pit is covered with large ice boulders, which have crashed down from a shaft above the pit. One lands on the dwarf's shoulders, and you hear wild cheers from the top of the shaft as he tumbles onto the floor. The dwarf sees you and shouts, "Curse you, stranger! If you do not aid me, let's try that again. Curse you, stranger! If you do not aid me, I see that you're not wearing a collar." Shall we help the dwarf out of the pit, or shall we ignore his pleas and walk back to the junction? Help the dwarf or ignore him? Are you playing your alignments consistently tonight? Assist the dwarf. Jeb's playing a good guy. He basically said, "Curse you, stranger, if you don't aid me." So he was a bit blunt. We don't officially have alignment. We're supposed to be a good guy in this one. There are a few books where you're a little bit more sketchy, but in this one, it's supposed to be good. Yes. Typical dwarf. Gruff. Surly. Give me a beer. I want a beer. Leave my beard. Gold. Gold. More gold. Beer. So Daniel reckons we leave him, and Jeb says we help him. Nobody else has voted yet. You're probably just looking at me going, "What is that idiot talking about?" Begrudgingly help him. That's right, Straw Piglet. Begrudgingly help him. 2-1 now towards helping. We're only at 2, only 3 votes out of 12 people watching. Daniel, have you got Straw Piglet blocked? Or Straw Piglet, have you got Daniel blocked? Ah, hold on. I wonder. Daniel says, "Screw him and his Karen attitude." I'm wondering if people haven't seen that because YouTube has decided it's rude. I don't know. Ah, click all chat and not top comments. Thank you, Dungeon Minister. Very helpful. Very helpful. That we're trying to decide whether we you have just joined Dungeon Master. We're playing this book, and we've come across a dwarf who's hanging on the edge of a pit, having chunks of ice hurled at him from above. Halakar says help him, and we're trying to decide whether to help this dwarf out of the pit or not. He has been a bit rude to us, but we're now on 3-2 to help him, with Halakar being nice. So you had it set to so it hadn't filtered out bad words. And I wouldn't say screw him is particularly bad anyway. Right, so we're helping him. We're helping him because Palmetto Exile has chosen to help him. Yeah. And if you were 4'6" as well, every right to be grumpy if you're that short. Right. Help him out the pit. 376. You lie down and lean over the edge of the pit and tell the dwarf to grab your arm. Much to the annoyance of the spectators above, the dwarf escapes from the pit. You run together back to the junction where the dwarf turns right. You tell the dwarf that you intend to carry straight on to find the Snow Witch, as turning right will lead you back to the Hall of Worship. The dwarf tells you that he must escape quickly and return to his village now that he is free. He thanks you for helping him and hands you a leather bag, then runs off. But before he disappears, he turns and shouts, "Beware the white rat!" You open the leather bag and find a sling and 3 iron balls. You pack them away and set off along the tunnel. More correct decisions. The tunnel through the glacier soon leads into the mountainside itself, and the walls change from ice to bare rock. You enter a large cavern, which has 3 other exits leading from it, one to your left, one to your right, and the main one carved as a giant skull lying directly opposite. As you enter, an ugly robed man steps out of the mouth of the skull holding a glass prism in his outstretched hands. He commands you to turn back, as only the Snow Witch's personal servants are allowed inside the mountain. If you have a magic... Oh, we haven't found a magic flute. I don't know where we got that from. Second time it's asked us about that. So we haven't got the option to play a magic flute for him. But we can attack him with our sword instead. There he is. Some of the bits of art are dodgy in this, but I like that one. So we have to attack him with our sword. There's no other option. The ugly man sneers as you draw your sword. He rubs the prism and suddenly 3 identical images of himself appear. They walk towards you. Each one has a dagger raised in his right hand. 2 of the images must be illusions, but which will you strike with your sword? Left, middle, or right? Left, middle, or right? So which image do we hit? He does look nasty. I wonder where we could have found that magic flute. What would we have missed? It doesn't feel like we missed anything. But I don't know. We've got 1 right, 1 left, 1 middle so far. 1 of each. Looks like Cthulhu spawn. So maybe the flute. Yeah, we did ignore the kitchen. So maybe the flute was in the kitchen. Okay, we've got 4 for left, 2 for right, 2 for middle. 4 for left, 2 for right, 2 for middle. Any more votes? If YouTube isn't lying, there are 6 people who haven't voted. Okay, 4 for left. 19. We turn to 99. We slash at the left image. The illusionist laughs out loud as your sword merely cuts through one of his images and his dagger plunges into your shoulder. Lose 2 stamina points. Whoa. Jane, stop it. So many ongoing, half done, half finished, half started, planned projects. The illusionist withdraws his dagger and his 3 images prepare to strike you again. You decide to swipe your blade across all of the images in an attempt to strike the real illusionist. Test your luck. Yes. We will need to drink our potion of luck after this, which we started with, because our luck is really low now. If we're lucky, turn to 232. We are. The illusionist screams in pain as your sword cuts into his side. He drops to the floor as his other 2 images fade away. And you step over him, he starts to laugh and he stands up, his wound completely healed. Shall we thrust our sword at him again, or shall we try to smash his prism? So, hit him again, or try to smash his prism. Prism. Smash it. Yeah, 4 going for smashing it so far. Five going for prism. I think we're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna move quickly on because I think smash it up. The Damned. Turn to 72. I shouldn't mention the name of the band, The Damned, as we do have a man of the cloth in chat. You pretend to give up the fight and then suddenly leap at the illusionist, catching him momentarily off guard. You manage to snatch the prism out of his hands and throw it on the floor. It shatters into tiny pieces, and the illusionist turns and flees into the skull mouth, screaming at the top of his voice. Smoke rises from the shattered fragments of the prism and forms itself into the shape of a bald, fat man. A genie. Hovering in midair, he bows and thanks you for releasing him. He tells you that if you call on him, he'll make you invisible just once as a token of his gratitude. Without saying another word, the image shimmers and disappears. You now have to decide which way to head. Okay, so we can call on the genie. So which way do we go? Tunnel on the left, tunnel in the skull mouth, or tunnel on the right? So left, right, or skull are your choices. I'm not surprised 100 minutes. I'd have thought they probably would be. I listened to The Damned quite a lot in the 80s. Not so much their early punk stuff, more the stuff that came out in the mid 80s, the Phantasmagoria album, Shadow of Love, Eloise, Alone Again, or I think was one of theirs. Looks like you're being outvoted here, grafting gamer. I can see where your logic is there. But people want to go straight into the skull cave. Very direct. 5 for the skull, 1 for left at the moment. But quite often, randomly wandering around will, yes, you might find something, you probably will, but you probably find things that kill you along the way as well. It's just luck. It is just luck. So we're going into the tunnel with the skull mouth. That's been 4-2. Okay. I'll pause for a moment as Straw Piglet has changed his mind. There's a chance this could change. We're on 4 for the skull mouth and 2 for left. But if you want to vote something different, you've not got long. Fair enough. We all have reasons for our votes. It doesn't look enough people are changing, so we're still going into the skull mouth. 288. The tunnel soon leads into another cavern, where you see a huge white-bearded man wearing white furs lifting a wooden chest on a high shelf. He is a frost giant. There is only one other exit out of his lair, via a tunnel in the opposite wall. Shall we run through his lair into the tunnel opposite, or shall we attack him? That's a frost giant. Run! Yes, the skull mouth. Very basic D&D. Run! Everyone's looking to run through his lair into the tunnel opposite at the moment. Okay, let's run. You wait until the frost giant has his back to you, and then run through his lair. You reach the next tunnel before the slow-moving giant realizes what is happening, but you do not stop running. Run Away was a hit for Slade in the 80s. Turn to 338. I'm guessing that it'll prompt us to use the genie to make us invisible at some point. You soon arrive at a crossroads in the tunnel. However, you have no time to examine the left and right branches as a strange humanoid is advancing towards you from straight ahead. Okay. Who's approaching from straight ahead? Before you stands a crystal warrior, one of the Snow Witch's personal guardians, who has been sent to deal with you. He is made of quartz, which has been animated by the Snow Witch's sorcery. Edged weapons will not harm the crystal warrior. Your sword is useless. If you possess a warhammer, you may succeed in smashing this crystal warrior to pieces. See chameleon lying there in the sun. All things to everyone. Run away. Okay, we have to fight the crystal warrior with a hammer. It is indeed hammer time, and he has the same skill as us, and he's beaten us on the first round. And he's beaten us on the second round. And we've got a point back. This is a very even fight. Okay, we're all square. We are all square. Oh, we tied. And we've tied again. And we've tied again. And we've tied again. 8, 8, 7. We've just got that one. Can't see very well because it's dark in here. Right, let's try this again. 9, 7. We've got that one. Just pulling ahead now. Just pulling ahead. Come on. 6, 7. He's beaten us. 7, 7. Another tie. 3, 4. He's beaten us again. This isn't looking good now. We're down. We've got to hit him 3 more times. He only now has to hit us twice. Tie. 6, 6. 8, 3. We've got him. Right. 2 hits each. 10, 10. I saw we got a 10. I thought that'd be great, but no. 7, 6. Oh. Okay, we are both down to 1 stamina. We have identical skill. I'm going to point my camera down at my little rolling tray so you can see. There we go. There's my little rolling tray where I've been doing the rolls. This is it. If we lose this one, we're dead. If we win this one, we've killed him. We've got 5. He's got 7. Oh. There we are. And thus, that's our first death in the Caverns of the Snow Witch. Unlucky chaps. I think we did quite well. I think we'd pretty much gone the right way, apart from we could have got that float in the kitchen. I think that's the only place we didn't go. We crept past the kitchen. So next time we play this book, remember the route we took, but we'll have a look at the kitchen. I think everything else seems to have been right. Everything else seems to have been sensible, which is a shame. We're doing ever so well. Doing ever so well. And it was that's not a bad book. That's not bad. It's better than Midnight on Dagger Alley. And it's better than that nonsense that was written by Terry Pratchett's daughter. So yeah. So oh well. You win some, you lose some. And yeah, the dice giveth, the dice taketh away, and they took. It happens. Agreed, Palmetto Exile. Agreed. That was that book gets a thumbs up so far. It's one of the better ones by the sounds of things from what we've seen so far. Because we went for logical decisions, and the logical decisions seem to be the right ones. That makes sense. It made sense. Anyway. Cheers, Daniel. Every party ends in the kitchen or the avoidance of the kitchen. Jonah Louie, you'll always find me in the kitchen at parties. but a lot of song references tonight. Keep them going. Keep them going. Anyway, I'm going to bring this stream to a close. A little bit shorter than the usual Friday ones because we didn't start till 10 o'clock. But thank you, everybody who has joined in chat. Nice, chill, chatty, relaxing stream. Very good-natured. Good fun. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm running my MERP game tomorrow night. And then next game after that, I'll be streaming again on Monday. Thursday is up in the air because we'll either play Saxius's Shadow of the Demon Lord game, or if work is still getting in the way, we'll play the second session of the Blood Red Fez, which I started last night. So there we go. That's my plan for the week ahead. But cheers. Thank you all. Enjoy your margaritas, Palmetto Exile. And I've got work tomorrow, so I'm going to probably crash in a bit. Cheers all. Good night.